Hi everybody, welcome back to Critical Mass. Today we're going to tackle a topic that is kind of controversial sometimes, and it's all about when somebody gets in trouble, when somebody does something wrong. Does that mean that you should just avoid everything that that person has to do? And we're talking like producers and directors and actors. If they put out a tweet that you don't like, does that mean you should avoid watching all their shows from now on, even though there's hundreds of people involved in making that show? It's an interesting question, and we're going to tackle it as best we can right after this. All right, we have tons of examples of this. We have James Gunn having child porn jokes from years ago. We have Kevin Hart, who in his comedy routine said a homophobic joke from 11 years ago, and he lost the Oscars. Roseanne tweets a single tweet, and they shut down her show. So many examples from things going on, and I don't really know how I feel about it. If that should affect whether or not you should see a movie, you should watch a show, because people will always say, oh, like for instance, Roseanne Barr. They said she did a racist tweet, she's racist, I'm not going to support anything she does. But then if you go to Michael Jackson, and the history and the rumors about some of the stuff that Michael Jackson got into, no one out there is saying never listen to a Michael Jackson song again.
No, and if you just go into, say, rap or hip-hop music culture, those songs are littered with sexist, racist, homophobic insinuations and outright messages.
People would argue that that's the style of the music.
Well, so the artist is sending a message through these things, and they have the right to have an opinion and say those opinions through their art. So I guess the question is, does Roseanne Barr have the right to have her own opinions and express them outside of the confines of her show?
She does. Well, here's where we have to kind of differentiate. There's a complete different reaction from a single person deciding, I'm not going to watch Roseanne's show because I didn't like what she said, than a studio deciding for everybody that we're not going to watch the Roseanne show because of what she said.
So as I remember the incident, it was Roseanne doing a racist tweet against one of, I believe it was former Obama aide who was black, and she made a lot of disparaging remarks, distasteful.
It was basically one tweet, though, that she actually went.
She had a few, but you know how they separate the tweets because they can only be a certain length.
Yeah.
And immediately, the head of production or the VP of the studio in charge, who herself was black, said, "Okay, that's it. We're canceling the show. Yeah. This is unacceptable. You're not allowed to have your own personal opinions, and we're going to punish you by firing everybody who works on the show."
That's where I have a problem with it. I'm okay with people saying, you know, I'm not going to watch you. Everybody has their own individual thought process on that. You know, I'm not going to listen to that music because I think it's offensive. I'm not going to watch that movie. I'm not going to support that actor. It's the cancel culture that's everywhere, right? It's the vocal minority that's telling everybody else to be outraged, and that it's starting to backfire now. It really is. That
I don't know. I think it feels like it's getting stronger.
Well, it's funny now because everyone complains about the movie studios out there that they're pandering now, right? They're pandering to all the different small minority areas, and the funny part is now those minorities are mad at them for the pandering that they're doing because they're saying, you're not representing us now, you're pandering us now. And the other people are saying, we don't like that you're forcing this down on us. And so they're getting it from both sides now. And it's kind of, I think movie studios, producers, and everybody just has to take a step back and say, you know what? We're going to let this play out before immediately reacting to something.
Well, okay, let's take James Gunn.
Okay.
So this wasn't something that, he said or he did. Somebody went back into his history and uncovered that, yeah, he went to some unfortunately themed parties.
Okay. Well,
Wait.
But he did do this.
He did, he did this. There's no question.
Yeah.
But it's not something that he did out in the public eye right now. Okay?
No.
So 10, 15 years ago, he goes into these parties. He shared some tweets. He had an eyebrow-raising sense of humor that not everybody appreciates these days. But these were all in his private life. So none of these things were against the law. He was never prosecuted. These were all before the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise.
It was bad humor. That's all it was.
Yeah, but people are going into his past to dig up things to be outraged about, and now they're kicking him off one of the greatest franchises in modern movie times.
They tried. He's back.
He's back now after things have died down a little bit because all the outrage people have moved on to other topics.
And not only that, a lot of the actors on that franchise, Guardians of the Galaxy, stood up for him and backed him and said, we're not going back if he's not back. And the studios and the actors and everybody out there are now starting to turn around and say, you know what? We better stop jumping on those bandwagons, because then you get stories like the Jussie Smollett story where it looks like it was just staged. You know what I mean? For attention. Mm-hmm. You don't know where this is going, and that's where the slippery slope stops. If studios immediately react to something without letting it play through and seeing exactly what's going on, they're going to step into it more often than they're going to get it right.
I also think studios should come out and say, listen, nothing illegal was done. If we find out something illegal was done, we're going to take swift action. However, our producers, our directors, our actors are free to be their own people on their own time.
Except then you're going to have people come out and say all the left and whoever the extremes are in whatever situation you're, they're going to come, well, you're supporting pedophilia because he's after children. You're supporting people making sexual jokes about our children.
If people have a sense of humor that doesn't jive with yours,
people don't have
then
humor.
that's like Article 1, So what happens if who is the female director? Was it a female director of Late Night?
Yes.
I can't remember her name, but what if she came out and she said, I am pro-choice. So now this vocal minority is going to go and say, everybody boycott Late Night because she supports killing unborn children, and that means that everybody else who's involved in the production has to lose their job as well.
Yeah.
Or what if Spielberg comes out and says, I support Trump's wall? What, so now half the country is going to be against Steven Spielberg, the greatest filmmaker ever?
Well, there are plenty of actors out here. Look at Tim Allen's show. It was #1 comedy on Friday nights in the network, #1 show on TV, and they canceled him. And they didn't say, well, we're canceling it because he's right wing. They canceled it and said, oh, we're changing our platform. We don't want comedy as much. It was the #1 show that night. So don't give me the horse crap that it was not about his personal beliefs. It's not about, and if you ever watch the show, they show both sides of everything. They have equal representation. They argue. It's just a fun show. There's nothing mean or anything about it.
No.
And it's unbelievable that some idiot in corporate with a social justice mentality comes forward to say that.
I don't want to keep bagging on millennials, okay? But some millennial who grew up with all of this PC culture, which means that everybody has to have same think, is getting these executive jobs, and they're making these decisions based on the outrage that they're getting from their CNN viewing, or they're not thinking straight. they have to understand that people are their own individual people. We're not a collective. We're not the Borg. What do you think, Mark?
Hey, does this suit make me look fat?
No, no, no. Your face does.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah. We're glad Mark has his opinion. We can always count on Mark.
So we see it in the entertainment business. We see it in the social media business. Censorship is running rampant right now, and I think it's going to have disastrous consequences.
You see it on YouTube.
I think
you see it everywhere.
The movie business is going to head on a downward slope, as are the major platforms and social media, if they don't put the brakes on the censorship thing.
As far as this topic is concerned, if somebody hasn't broken the law, it should be left up to everybody else's individual, whether or not they want to avoid this movie, go see this movie, support the actor, support the singer, whatever you want, if it's their choice. It should not be the movie studios or some executive director or some producer anywhere or TV studio making that decision. It should be left to us.
I didn't have anything to say.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
And that's how it should be.